Let's take a look at some data on Tezos for Brave New Coin. So Tezos is a few years old now and originally was touted as a potential ETH killer by a few people. Tezos is a pure proof of stake network. They call it baking instead of staking. I don't know why we try to reinvent the wheel and call this stuff different names, but hey, I don't make the rules. These are a list of the bakers. Now these bakers, just like any proof of stake validator, have various yields and fees, and in Tezos's case, free space. So the baker has to have at least 10% of the total Tezos that it holds as a bond. So if it doesn't have 10% of the total Tezos that it holds as a bond, then it gets fewer fees. The yield goes down. And the most bakers that have a problem with this are exchanges, because exchanges are where most of the proof of stake is happening for Tezos. If we look at the total amount staked, the yield and whatnot, the adjusted reward after inflation for most people is going to be 1.33% as a baker and 0.72% as a delegate. So you're almost better off with the legacy yields of sticking it in a savings account than trying to stake it on Tezos. If we look at the total percent staked, it looks like it's around 80%, which has been what Tezos has stayed at for many months now. I always say that because so much is staking, there's really nothing else to do with Tezos other than stake it. You know, with ETH and EOS and whoever else that's proof of stake, you either stick it all in a master node or staking, or you do stuff with it. In ETH's case, we are doing stuff with it on DeFi. We being the general crypto community at large. Tezos, not so much. Not really much to do there. If you look at the past proposals, the whole Tezos theme has always been self-amending blockchain, and thus far they've done that really well over the past few years with incremental upgrades and changes and voting, and it's all automated, and it all happens seamlessly in the background. There's no infighting or whatever. You know, there's updates and changes to the proposals before they're voted on. It looks like this most recent proposal has like a sheer dichotomy between them as far as differences, and you can always look into that. You know, if you are Tezos inclined, it looks like the Florence, I think this stands for baking accounts, or banking upgrade or something, baking rather. Looks like one of these proposals wants to upgrade something where the other one doesn't, and one is winning and one is not. So there's a pretty clear vote here at the moment, and you can see how many people are participating and the bakers and what they're doing. So I like this system better than EOS, definitely. That doesn't mean I think this is bullish for Tezos. It's just, you know, it's a good system. You can't deny that, no matter what you think of proof of stake or governance or anything related to that. This whole system of sort of stepwise implementation proposal, that's really how it should be done. If we look at some on-chain stats for Tezos, transaction counts have continued to increase here, so that is bullish. Average transaction value is increasing with price, so nothing too crazy there. And I believe this initial stuff is the distribution of the coin sort of post-ICO, and you can see that if we zoom out, the monthly average is still, you know, it's a multi-month high for transactions per day since the initial token release. So definitely bullish there. Active addresses continue to rise. With 80% staked, it's not like, I don't know, I mean, that overshadows everything, because nobody's doing anything else with Tezos other than staking it. That's just the way it is. So all this on-chain data is relative to the staking mechanics. And if there's more people staking, there's going to be more active addresses, there's going to be more transactions per day. NVT is going to go way down because all that is on-chain activity. So this is going to look extremely bullish because it's at all-time lows. But the reality is, you know, it might not even matter, right? If there's nothing to do with it other than stake, okay, you're getting less than a 1% APY on it. Congrats. I mean, there's not much else to say. It has a system, it does it well, it doesn't really do much else. Tezos Google Trends has sort of peaked and waned a little more actively than most coins, currently coming off a local high in February. So this wouldn't be a bullish picture per se if Google Trends is declining. Just means on average, new people are not searching, you know, Tezos for any reason, more so than they were from December to mid-February. If we look at the technicals, 5200 EMAs here in green and red. yearly pivots, VPVR, volume, and RSI. So trend-wise, this actually looks fine. You know, it's kind of like EOS. EOS looks a lot more flat than Tezos does, but Tezos has this just ascending channel since 2019. And you can draw it with some imaginary lines here. It's this diagonal channel that continues to rise, kind of like Chainlink in that it just keeps slowly rising, sort of independent of everything else. Unlike EOS, this has made successive highs, successive all-time highs, so it's not like it's just dirtling on lows in a range. 5200 is bullish, so the trend likes it. It's above all the VPVR. Volume support, path of least resistance is definitely up rather than down. I like 6, I like 750, I like any of the yearly pivots up here. I wouldn't say necessarily any of this is a chart pattern, but you could probably consider this some sort of cup and handle with a breakout entry at 550. Probably looking for 8 plus at that point. Yeah, overall, the USD chart looks okay. It doesn't look bearish by any means. It doesn't look like it wants to retrace. None of that stuff. It looks fine. On the USD pair on the cloud, it looks like it's setting up for a bullish TK recross above the cloud. Another one in the past few days. In reality, the focus should be on this triangle. So if this breaks up, it's bullish continuation. If it breaks down, then it's going to want to retest the 200-day moving average somewhere around 320 would be my guess. And the cloud settings will reset, and you're better off with a bullish entry signal at that point. Because when this stuff ranges, the cloud signals get super murky, and you just have to identify ahead of time. Does this look and feel rangy? Is it, has it made a higher low, or lower low rather, in the past X amount of days? This is clearly just kind of stagnated and forming some sort of consolidation. Volume's been descending as well, so that's pointing to a consolidation period, and no bull or bear dips here. It hasn't made a higher high, hasn't made a lower low, nothing like that. If we look at XTZ BTC, Tezos BTC pair on Kraken, it has made a new all-time low, earlier in the year. It didn't make a lower low beyond that, so none of this is a bullish divergence just yet. It doesn't look like anything I want to touch. Previously at the lows, it took months to get out of them. This is like the doldrums of 3-month, 4-month period. So maybe this is a revisit in May, June, July, something like that. Really, everybody's going to be looking at 1,000 sats. 1,000 sats is the ceiling right now. When it breaks above that, it's probably going to go for a run, maybe to 1,800, whatever the yearly pivot is. Ideally, you're waiting till the 15 to 200 cross is bullish again, because historically, these have been pretty much on the money. This wasn't a great short entry, but it told you it wasn't bullish, certainly. This told you it was bullish. This picked the top pretty well for 5,200 cross on an altcoin on a daily chart. So ultimately, it's a long ways out. This 5,200 cross may take 4 months, but again, that speaks to the likelihood that this just does a bunch of nothing until it can break above 1,000 sats for the foreseeable future. It's really just an avoid for me. Unless this breaks all-time lows with a multi-month bullish divergence, it's not really a trade I'm sitting in. Just better opportunities elsewhere, probably. Here's the Tezos ETH chart, and unlike the Tezos BTC chart, there's a bit of a diamond bottom here. If you add some diagonals here, you can see the diamond, descending volume, massive VPVR level here. So this actually looks decent enough for a bottom. I don't know where you can trade this pair directly, if at all, but it's always worth looking at, if this is an ETH killer, what does it look against ETH, right? It absolutely fell off the table in 2019 or 2020. Just lost anything, right? Against ETH, went to all-time lows. So if you're trading this as a diamond, you'd be eyeing the 200-day moving average there, which is basically a 2x-ish from here. So overall, not too much to say on the fundamentals of Tezos. It's doing its thing. They've got developers doing stuff, kind of is what it is. It doesn't have the attention of ETH, doesn't have the dApps of ETH, doesn't have the people of ETH. There was some attempt at some PR saying that NFTs on Tezos carry a smaller carbon footprint or some garbage like that. That's not going to move people into your project, guys, at Tezos. Sorry. So Tezos needs to innovate fast. They need to add dApps. They need to do something to bring people to the party. Swaps, I don't know. Do what everybody else is doing, but do it better. That's really my advice for any project. The fees are obviously better on Tezos than ETH, so if they had some sort of anything to bring people over, that would certainly help price. Technicals on the USD pair look fine for bull trend continuation. Rebuy at 310 if it drops, otherwise just watch for new all-time highs probably within the next few months. BTC pair looks abysmal for the next few months, and Tezos ETH actually looks like it has some rebound in its step at the lows here. If you want to see how I'm trading the ETH and BTC pairs along with long short in and out of USD, you can pop on over to enzyme.finance. There's a link in the video description below. It is a non-custodial portfolio management tool where you're basically copy trading me or following the trades I make. You can see the AUM, the depositors, the trades, what I've done and when, for how much, all that stuff. It's very interesting and transparent. Let me know what you think of Tezos in the comments below, and happy trading.